Once upon a time, there was a small kingdom called Kala that was ruled by a very powerful and wealthy king who everyone feared. He was known for defeating other kingdoms and anyone who dared to cross his path. The king had a beautiful wife, who he treasured and loved so much, but sadly, she passed away during childbirth, and left behind a beautiful bouncing baby girl named Adana, who took after her mother's beauty. This tragic turn of events totally shook the king's world. It was so devastating that he made a promise to himself that he would never marry again. He couldn't even imagine someone else mistreating his daughter or taking his late wife's place in his heart. Therefore, he dedicated himself to loving and cherishing his daughter for the rest of his life. The king absolutely adored his daughter and showered her with everything her little heart desired. He just wanted her to be happy, no matter what it took. The princess grew up into a beautiful young woman whose beauty captivated all who laid eyes upon her. Some even said the moon got jealous of her looks. But she had a major attitude problem. She was all high and mighty, only cared about herself. She didn't give a second thought to other people's feelings, and was just plain rude. The way she treated people, including her own servants, was straight up disrespectful. She made everyone bow down before her when she walked by on the road, even the elders in the kingdom. And if anyone dared to disagree with her or stand up to her decisions, oh boy, they were in for some serious punishment. The princess was all about taking advantage of her father's power to maltreat people in the kingdom. Whenever she felt like going to the river, she would chase everyone away and tell them to come back later when she was done with whatever she wanted to do. Sometimes, she just wanted to chill and watch the water flow. Yet people wanted to fetch water for serious reasons. People were not allowed to hold any festival without her being present or without getting permission from her first. The whole kingdom feared and respected both the king and his daughter. No man in their right mind would even think about proposing to her because they were absolutely terrified of her. As years went by, the king kicked the bucket and left behind his daughter, the princess. It hit her so hard, she felt completely crushed and powerless without her father around to protect her. Adana mourned for her father day in and day out, desperately wishing he would come back and bring back all the happiness and joy they shared when he was alive. The king was gone for good, leaving her all alone. The whole community wondered how this young royal would navigate life without her father by her side. She had no friends and no one to talk to. Her situation was pretty much messed up and people just couldn't stop gossiping about it. They were actually laughing at her, saying that, let's see where that terrible attitude gets you. Life really threw some curveballs at the poor princess. One day the elders of the kingdom went to the palace to talk to the princess about taking over her father's throne. As she was the only child of the late king, the elders told the princess that according to the customs and traditions of the land, a woman can only rule the kingdom if she is married. Basically, she needed to get married in order to become the queen and rule over her father's realm. This left Adana feeling totally lost. She had never been involved with any man before, nor had anyone ever expressed interest in marrying her, or even talked to her dear late father about it. She knew very well that she had no choice but to do what the elders requested, if she wanted to become the new ruler and enjoy a peaceful life once again without her father being around. The princess decided to search for a man to marry in order to satisfy the elders and win the throne. She ordered all the men to come to the palace so that she could check them out and pick a husband. Every man showed up except for this one poor man named Oba, who thought he looked too scruffy and wanted to save himself from feeling embarrassed. All the men who attended the meeting at the royal palace refused to marry the princess, due to her disrespectful and arrogant behavior towards the people in the kingdom. They feared that if they were to marry her, she would mistreat them and their families because of her cruel nature towards others. Consequently, they rejected her proposal in the presence of the elders. The elders were totally shocked and had no words as to why all the men refused to marry the princess, considering her beauty, and marrying her would mean inheriting the throne and all of her father's riches. When everyone left, the princess went inside and looked at herself in the mirror. Confusion clouded her mind as she questioned herself, am I not beautiful enough? She couldn't understand what was wrong with her for every man to decline her proposal. The princess was going through a tough time. Every day, she refused to eat, cried herself to sleep, and woke up feeling sad and lonely. People around her tried to comfort her, but nothing seemed to work because all she really wanted was her parents by her side. She believed that if they were still alive, she wouldn't be dealing with all these problems. One day, she just had enough of crying and searching for love. So she went for a walk to clear her mind, and that's when she bumped into this good-looking man named Oba. She tried talking to him, but he didn't say a word and just walked away from her. The princess couldn't just get him out of her head. When she got home, she told her guards to find out where the man was living. The next day, the guards found his address and immediately informed the princess. Without any hesitation, the princess went to visit him because she had fallen head over heels in love with this guy at first sight. Oba had a tough start in life. He lost both of his parents when he was just 12 years old, and all of his relatives turned their backs on him, claiming he was cursed. He had been on his own ever since, struggling to make ends meet. No one wanted anything to do with him, and women always rejected his proposals because he had nothing to offer besides poverty, which chased women away from him. He managed to survive by farming on a small piece of land left by his parents and doing odd jobs for people. When the princess visited Oba at his place, he totally freaked out. He thought the princess came to punish him for not attending the meeting at the palace. The princess assured him that she had come in peace and not to bring harm or cause trouble to him. Oba was all cool about it and told her to take a seat. He was all ears, ready to hear what she had to say. The princess told him that she had fell in love with him the very first day she met him on the road. She wanted him to be her husband and rule as the new king of Kala Kingdom. At first, Oba thought the princess was joking, as no woman had ever shown interest in him because of his status. He was seen as dirty and poor by women, and everyone in the village looked down on him. No one could believe that the arrogant princess of Kala would actually fall for someone like him who had nothing except a small piece of land that he cherished dearly. That land was the only thing left to him by his deceased parents, and it meant the world to him. The princess told him that she was serious about everything that she told him, and that she had fell in love with him for who he is, and not because she was in need of a man to fulfill the traditions of the land for her to be the queen. Oba could not even believe what he was hearing. He thought to himself, are the gods finally cutting me a break after all these years of misery? He asked the princess if he could have some time to think about it and then promised to get back to her the following day. She was totally cool with that and said she would swing by tomorrow to hear his decision. Oba had also fallen in love with the princess, but he was kind of sketched out by her because she was all stuck up and rude to everyone. The next day, when the princess went back to see Oba, he straight up turned down her marriage proposal. But the princess begged and pleaded until he finally agreed to marry her under one condition. He asked the princess to go round the entire kingdom and apologize to every single person she had treated badly, and promised them that she would change for the better from now on. The princess was like, okay, I messed up big time and I have to make things right. She arranged a day with the elders and went round the whole kingdom, apologizing to everyone and promising them that from henceforth she would start treating them nicely. People were totally shocked by her sudden change of heart, but they decided to give her another chance and were excited to see her transformation. Adana ended up marrying this handsome man who wasn't even rich or anything. She became the new queen while Oba became the new king of Kala Kingdom. Princess Adana was the most kind-hearted queen to ever rule the kingdom of Kala. Love can totally change anyone at any time as long as they are willing to change.